the Greens' defence policy. In part, they say that they should cut defence spending by 50%, they being Australia, should cut by 50%, and also that that Australia should junk its deal for the nuclear subs when it comes to the United States and the United Kingdom. He has also said, among other things here, that they will, that being their defence spokesperson, or shadow minister as they like to call them, they'll be closing all foreign military bases. They will be prioritising peaceful efforts to tackle the climate crisis. That's the fairies at the bottom of the garden. Let's talk to the bloke who's been in plenty of gardens in the real world. Sorry, I was just doing my best to try to link the two. Jim Molan is, of course, the New South Wales Senator. Jim, this is obviously ridiculous, but it's an indication of, remember what they have promised. Power sharing is what they want from the Labor Party if they are in a minority scenario. And obviously, you know the numbers required to the Senate. So obviously this is not going to be the Labor Party's defence policy. But when you put it together with some of their manage the relationship chat about China, that's the indication about where the Greens is going to push Labor.
And that's exactly right. This is the key thing. I mean, it's idiocy. And it's dangerous idiocy. It's slightly more stupid than the comments that Twiggy made today in relation of the ability of Chinese youth to impact on Xi's decision-making. But when you put both of those together, you understand the naivety of at least 10% of our society. And it does say exactly what you've just said, Paul. It says that if you go to bed with elbow at the next election, you wake up with Steel John as your defence minister. Now, that's overstating it slightly, but that's the impact on it. And this is why that the group within the Labor Party who are so strongly pro-coal are too scared to speak out because they know they cannot get into government. They cannot form government without the Greens. Yet the Greens bring such idiocy into the game, even if they don't take the policy as a whole, they influence, and I think that's the real problem for us. But, I mean, they want us to be like St. Ardern's Navy and Air Force. God help me. We've only just got to over 2% of GDP for defence in the most dangerous period strategically that we've seen since the 20s and the 30s. I mean, you can't make it up.
Well, but this is the thing where I understand that this is, the normal ragtag of stuff, Pine Gap Man, like all of that stuff. I understand all of that's been there for a long time. But the strategic threat of China, right, that as I said, Labor will pay lip service to, but we've outlined multiple times, that doesn't change in the Greentopia. They can play this BS version of what they think China is, but the strategic consequences of even kind of what they're saying is pretty obvious too.
Yes, it is. And it goes to the religious fervour with which they approach every subject. And it goes to the inability of anyone to have a conversation on climate change with them. They are not interested in the facts. They're interested in an outcome. And that outcome is their outcome. And regardless, I wonder if any of them have read any history or any history outside the kind of green activist history from the inner Melbourne suburbs. I find it just astonishing. It is very, very dangerous. I mean, all political parties have faults, but the Greens institutionalise them. They institutionalise them in the lower house and in the upper house. And so many good Australians vote for them without realising who or what they're voting for. Well, this is an indication of the idiocy that you get with the Greens.
Yeah, absolutely. It's that thing. Look, I will say this. If you want sort of centre-left politics or a different type of politics than Team Blue plays, vote Team Red. Like, don't vote for these people, right? I would never advocate for that to be the case in terms of what should form the government, but please don't piss it away by voting for these people. Jim, I appreciate it, mate. Thank you.